Hi, good day and welcome to another edition of the Lowdown here on GhanaWeb TV. My name is Daniel Odro. As usual, I'll bring you another exciting episode of this show. Today, my guest is someone who is very critical as far as the minerals conversation is concerned. He is a businessman and a sports administrator, but today we talk to him about his foray into the minerals industry. As you may have known, the discovery of lithium in Ghana has piqued a lot of interest. Many are of the opinion that this mineral could be of great benefit to the people of Ghana. But there are others who are very skeptical because gold, which is Ghana's biggest mineral in the country, has not necessarily benefited the people of Ghana. Would lithium be any different? Lithium is amongst the top 10 most expensive minerals in the world, and Ghana has discovered that in commercial quantities. Atlantic Lithium has been mentioned as the company that has been granted concession to mine Ghana's lithium. Is that the accurate state of affairs, or Barari, which is the Ghanaian component or the Ghanaian subsidiary of Atlantic Lithium, is the rightful company to mine this concession? Today, we've got the person who has in-depth knowledge of the issues to discuss it with us on today's edition of The Lowdown. Ben Nunoo Mensah is president of the GOC, but he's also a businessman. Sir, good day and welcome to the show, and thank you very much for your time. Today, we're not talking sports. Usually, I talk to you about sports. And so it's quite different to be speaking to you about something different, about your other business ventures. I know you do a lot of other things aside your sports interest. First of all, let's start from this excitement that the discovery of lithium has brought to in the country. Many say the white gold could be the defining factor for us. Is used for a lot of things, used for batteries, electric vehicles, and all of that. How excited were you when the announcement was made that Ghana has discovered lithium in commercial quantities and it could open an avenue for job creation, for wealth creation in this country?
Yeah, thank you, Daniel, and thank you for coming all the way to spend some time with me so we can talk about business and business that goes to benefit Ghana as a whole. Now to your question. I mean, as the concession owner, obviously, you'll be super excited when you get reports, you get geological reports that your concession has commercial quantity or has lithium deposits that are commercially viable, and that could be something that you want to mine rather than the focus on the gold. Mm-hmm. Actually, that is a concession I've had since 2011, and it was acquired for gold mining.
Okay.
But when the geological reports from the Mineral Commission came out with the fact that there were lithium deposits there, then that created a need to get people to look at how viable it would be to either do gold or to do lithium.
Lithium, okay. So you have both gold and lithium.
That is what is, yeah, exactly. Okay. So the next step was, so get people who get geologists who have good idea about, because I'm not a geologist, who have good idea about which of the two minerals think that would be very viable to mine. So that's where the journey started. I had a geologist friend who mentioned to me that he was looking around and he could get some strategic partners from Australia, and then they can come and conduct scoping study and find out how viable the deposit, lithium deposit, compared to the gold there.
Okay.
So he introduced these Australians to me somewhere back in 2016.
Okay.
And then that's where the journey started. So yes, it was a lot of excitement in the beginning, and I think that I'm still very excited about it because, as you know, lithium is a strategic mineral. Now it has a lot of value, and that is something that, if well structured, could benefit Ghana as a whole. And when I say well structured, it has to be mined with the right mining laws. If we're still to go by existing mining laws, which has not been beneficial to our people, then all that excitement will come to naught. And Ghana as a people, or the people who indigenously own that, who ancestors bequeath that to us as Ghanaian, we may not benefit, like where our gold has been. Gold hasn't been of much benefit to us as a people. Look, if you went to our gold mining communities, go to Obuasi, go to Duaprim, go to Takwa, they are some of the most deprived communities in the country.
Why is that?
Well, I think it's got to do with the kind of mining laws that we have. I'll tell you what, Daniel, all the big mining companies that you see in Ghana and all the concessions that they now own, most of it 100%, at a point in time, were owned 100% by Ghanaians.
So what happened?
That's what we have to find out, okay? Over the period, these foreign companies are able to muzzle, twist the arms of Ghanaians, and then kick them out of any equity holding in
our own country. Foreigners come and twist our arms in our own country.
Well, as if our mining laws are not structured in such a way that they protect the Ghanaian interests, they could easily take advantage of those laws and kick Ghanaians. I mean, I'm a 10% shareholder in Barari. I know what I'm going through with people trying to muzzle and get you out. The only Ghanaian shareholder in that, the only Ghanaian equity holder.
There are conflicting reports about your stake in it. Some say it's 4.4, others say it's 10%. What's the actual position?
Well, it's 10%, Daniel. I'll tell you what. I had an MOU kind of understanding with Iron Ridge, and Atlantic was not in the picture. And for me, as far as I'm concerned, that's still not in the picture. That we would partner, and depending on the level of investment that they put in the projects, then I transfer shares. So Barari, the concession is in the name of Barari and not Atlantic. That keeps going around. Okay. I went into an agreement with Iron Ridge Resources of Australia or Singapore. Okay. And the agreement was such that as and when they invested into the projects, and depending on the amount of investment that is done, you transfer a certain shareholding to them. Okay. So in other words, it is my company that they are buying into. Okay. And then by effect, buy into the concession. So that arrangement went on for a period until we are now at 90% for Iron Ridge, and then 10% Ben Nunoo Mensah, and that is where we are, and that is what the record says.
So you're not willing to sell the rest of the 10%?
No, I don't think so. Then that goes to defeat some of us pushing that, look, our mining laws should be structured such that Ghanaian shareholding in these mining companies should be more than 50%. Why should resources that have been given to us by our ancestors, our forefathers, should be majority owned by foreigners? Especially when we were seeing that these resources are not benefiting our people.
So if the laws were such that it was about 50%, you wouldn't have sold the 90% at this point?
No.
Because you voluntarily sold the 90%.
Of course, because, so you want the project to happen because you can see that this is something that will be good for your country.
Right.
Okay. The amount of investment that needs to go into the project before it starts is huge. And that will warrant a certain level of ownership to these people.
There are no companies or banks here to finance that?
So I'll tell you what. So initially when my geologist said, okay, so this is what we're going to do, and this is how much it's going to cost, we had approached a few banks, and
Could you give us a range? How much was it in a range, not the actual
I'm not going to mention figures to scare you, but
it's quite a lot of money.
It's quite a lot of money. Even scoping study, drilling and scoping, that is huge. And even though my geologist had done a very, very good paper on how viable the project is, we're not able to get a bank that wants to partner us.
Because they didn't or because they didn't believe the scoping studies?
Well, I think that it it might be a combination of both, because for most of the banks, our local banks, this is a very new area.
Yeah.
You know, what's the advantage the foreigners have over the indigenes here is that they are able to go on the capital market. They are able to link up with existing mining companies that they are already associated with,
yeah.
and then they're able to raise funding from the capital market, from the global capital market. I haven't seen any investor coming here who has money in his pocket or sitting somewhere in his bank account, in his personal. They all go out there and raise money on the global capital market. You know, so it's about time our banks change their attitude towards some of these so-called new areas that they want to venture in. I know there are some banks who will support maybe the people in the mining services contract, give them facility to go buy trucks, especially when they have a viable contract, delivery contract from some of the mining companies to conduct mining services contract. Yes, but we need to be doing more, especially when we're beginning to realize that if we don't start acting now, most of our resources that should rather go to the benefit of our people are going outside and going to the benefit of foreigners.
Which one should come first? The changing of our mining laws, or the flexibility of our banks and our financial institutions to support indigenous people to venture into this large, scale businesses that requires a lot of investment? Would the banks be more willing, if they knew that the laws will protect the indigenous, then maybe they are willing to give to you, a local person, to invest?
I think that the laws should come first.
Okay.
We need to look at our mining laws. You know, I've heard commentary from a lot of people in support of the mining lease granted Berari, and then those who are against it. And everybody has a point. You see, people are thinking that, look, if we want to keep up with the rest of the world, then we don't have to walk. Because at the time when we should be walking, we're crawling. So if our mining laws are, say, 50 years old, and the rest of the world has moved on 10 steps, then when we are going into new mining ventures or new mining arrangement, we should look at the existing ones, what is current, the best practice. Okay, if you want to compare what we have with the lithium thing to what our mining laws used to be, then you will say it's a good one, it's an improvement. Because I've heard Sir Sam Jonah made comments like that.
Yeah, and the minister as well.
You know, but if you
is that enough?
No, it's not. And if you speak to experts in the industry, they're going to tell you it's not enough.
So for context, this is 13%, if my readings are correct, 13%. And comparatively, the minister said, usually you would have Ghana benefiting about 5 to 10% maximum. So because this is 13%, this is an improvement. Is that the position?
Yes, that is exactly what it is. But it's not, is that the best? That I think should be.
Yes.
Is that the best that we can make out of our rich resources?
Yeah.
It, to some of us, is definitely not the best.
Which fraction do you think would be the best? Which percentage, for example? 50%, 55% more?
Well, I have said on several platforms that it's about time mining companies in Ghana are more than 50% owned by indigenous Ghanaians or the state. If it's Ghana that maybe has a free carry plus whatever individual Ghanaians have in the mining company, it's more than 50%. Government will always have an interest. Government will always have a free interest stake in, together with what individual Ghanaians or individual Ghanaian companies own. Should be more than 50%.
So cumulatively should be more than 50?
I think so. Okay. I think so. That is the only way then we can get maximum value, or we can maximize, or we have majority of the benefits that come from mining of these resources, which is rightly so.
Okay.
Ghanaians must benefit from the resources that God, in His own kindness, put us where we are now, and not being exploited in a way by foreigners, which has not been beneficial to Ghana. And a very true story is, if you look at our mining communities, go to Duaprim, go to Takwa, you know, Obuasi.
That's why they call it a gold curse, and why people are afraid the lithium would be no different, because they call the lithium the white gold. And the minerals we have mined in this country has not benefited us. Why should I be excited that lithium will be any different if at the end of the day it is going to benefit expatriates, and the youth of this country will still be grappling for opportunities and have to leave the country in droves in search of opportunities that they can't find here, when there are lots of minerals in this country?
Daniel, that is why I've said that it's about time every single Ghanaian start speaking about what was wrong or what is wrong and why are we not benefiting. I have just told you that a chunk, virtually all the mining companies in Ghana are owned 100% by foreigners.
But the politicians know that. They are supposed to change that. The MPs go to parliament and they don't change the laws.
Well, it's up to you and me, the ordinary people, and then of course the chiefs from Winneba and all the other places, and Takwa, Takrady. It's up to them to now stand up for what their ancestors have left them with.
Okay.
If we don't start pushing our policymakers, our politicians, to the reality on the ground, you don't make them see how we are being exploited, it's going to continue. You know, I won't say because, oh yes, I'm benefiting from it, so I'm not going to fight for my people. I would fight for my people, because I know my people should be benefiting more than they are benefiting.
Okay.
I know the kind of thing coming into the industry. I've now come to the realization why most Ghanaians have been pushed out of concession, which initially they own 100%. It's a very difficult terrain, you know, especially if you have to come to terms with powerful corporate organizations, you know, who would want to use everything they can.
What has been your experience? What has been your experience?
Well, it hasn't been a very good one. If you invite people in to come join you, to come invite them into your home, come help you to manage your home, and then after a while they're kicking you out of your home. That is not a good experience. And that is what I've come to realize, that is what most Ghanaians had gone through. Hence, the reason why Ghanaians don't even have equity holding in some of these mining companies.
Are they literally buying you out and say, take this money and leave this thing for us? Or this is just trying to look at maybe the contract you sign and finding some loopholes in there and try and take advantage of it?
It's a combination of everything. But the objective is gradually, let's get them out. You know, so whether it's through coercing, whether through enticing you with some money, whether trying to find loopholes, that is the objective of any foreigner who comes here to mine our resources. Get the Ghanaian out, and then we have a field day. Nobody knows what we're doing. Initially, they will start by not even communicating and letting you know what is happening. You know, and if you are not strong, if you are not tough, then eventually you give up. Oh, let me take the money, and then that kind of. And I've seen it's a bad experience. I mean, and I wouldn't say because I'm a shareholder in a viable mineral project, I'm going to sit back and then allow my people to be exploited, or not speak about what is wrong in the industry, knowing that the moment I start speaking, it's going to change things in the industry. And then with time, Ghanaians can benefit from things that their ancestors have given to them.
This is another edition of the Lowdown here on GhanaWeb TV. My name is Daniel Odro. Today I'm speaking to Ben Nunoo Mensah. He's a businessman. He's the 10% shareholder in Barari DV. It's a mining company that has a concession as far as the lithium conversation is concerned. He's partnered with an Australian company, and he's been mentioning about some of his experiences with them and why Ghana needs to have more equity in its own resources. We'll go for a short break. When we return, we'll continue our conversation on whether or not the lithium mineral that we have is at risk if the two shareholders are at loggerheads. Stay with us. We're back after this break. Welcome back from the break. This is still the Lowdown on GhanaWeb TV. My name is Daniel Odo. Today we are talking minerals, we are talking lithium, we're talking about how the mineral resources of this country can benefit the people of this country, how they will not become a curse. Many are talking about the gold curse because of the destruction of the land by galamseyers and how it's polluting the environment, while it is not necessarily benefiting the people. And like we've established on this program today, if you go to Takwa, if you go to Obuasi, some of the most deplorable communities in our country, and yet there is so much money being mined out of their gold. Why are they not benefiting? What should change about our laws? Ghana has discovered lithium, the white gold, which is in very high demand amongst the top 10 most expensive minerals in the world at the moment. The estimation is that the demand for lithium would be about 6 times what it is today in the next 10 years or so. So what are we going to do with all the lithium we have discovered in commercial quantities in Ghana? Would we change our laws to reflect the new trend where countries are benefiting more from their resources? Barari DV and Atlantic Lithium have been given a license to mine Ghana's lithium for the next 15 years. When will they start the mining, and how soon should we expect the benefit? And is everything all right with the lease agreement Ghana has with these companies? Ben Nunoo Mensah is a 10% shareholder of that concession, and he's been giving us some insight about what's been happening and why some of the laws must change to reflect the changing demands of our country. So, sir, my checks suggest that your original partners were Iron Ridge. Atlantic Lithium has been thrown in the mix the last couple of months. Do they own Iron Ridge, or how did they buy Iron Ridge out? What's the arrangement like? Because that's correct. Your original agreement was with Iron Ridge.
With Iron Ridge Resources.
Okay.
Of Singapore. I am still trying to get answers from Iron Ridge Atlantic, how Iron Ridge has metamorphosed into Atlantic Lithium, which is the name that we all hear. But my arrangement and my MOU or my agreement or my share transfer or my shareholding arrangement was with Iron Ridge Resources. You hardly hear about Barari DV, the indigenous name of the concession. That is also something that I'm still asking for answers. I heard not too long ago Atlantic Lithium being listed on the stock exchange, and it came as a surprise to me because Atlantic Lithium is not a registered entity in Ghana. It is Barari DV, which is a registered entity.
So ideally, it is Barari that should be listed on the stock exchange.
Exactly, and you just mentioned the mining lease was given to Barari DV, not Atlantic Lithium. So this semantics with names and not too sure how Atlantic Lithium relates to Iron Ridge is something that I'm still baffling to understand. Now, when Atlantic Lithium got listed, I did a few checks, and yes, they were. But Atlantic Lithium, if I'll say Iron Ridge Resources, don't own any property or value apart from the Ewoya concession.
But didn't you know when they were going to be listed? You are a partner.
Yes.
So are you not sitting at the meetings? Don't you know that this date we are going to launch on the stock exchange? What did you oppose to it? Did you not say it's Barari that must be listed?
Daniel,
because I should be confused.
It's not everything about the company confidential that I can talk about them now. But what I can simply say is that Barari DV has a board.
Okay.
But most of the issues and most of the decisions that affects the Ewoya projects are not taken at the Barari board. It is taking, decisions are made somewhere, and then I only go and ask, why is this done? Why was this done? You know, so that is the kind of, and I'm not surprised. When we spoke earlier, I told you most Ghanaians who originally had 100% shareholding in our mining concessions eventually get frustrated, and then they just chicken out by some of these tactics and maneuverings and arm twisting. You know, but Ben Nunoo Mensah is not the kind of person who would chicken out easily, especially when I'm an indigenous Ghanaian and I have every right to what belongs to my ancestors.
What can Ghana do to help maintain your stake and your interest and the equity that Ghanaians must get in this concession? Does it mean that the deal must go back to Parliament for parliamentary scrutiny, or what should be done?
Okay, for my business dealing with Iron Ridge, that's something that's myself and my lawyers can handle that.
Okay.
What we're speaking about now is the bigger Ghanaian interest in the mining industry, and that is where I'm coming from. As for all the arm twisting and all the,
you can deal with it.
That is something that we can easily handle at my, and those ones came in because I needed to make you understand why most of the time Ghanaians are booted out of concession, which initially they own 100%. What I am trying to put across now is for our chiefs, is for our people, is for our government to start realizing that, look, our mining laws that we have not and will not benefit the ordinary Ghanaian in that mining community. Go to Gold Reef City in South Africa. It's one of the most beautiful cities in the world, because there's a lot of resources, there's a lot of worth in the ground. So the people in the area benefit. Can you say same of Obuasi? Can you say same of Takwa, Iduaprim? No. So this is the awareness that we should need to start creating. Our chiefs, especially my chiefs in the central region, needs to stand their ground and make sure that these things that have been bequeathed to us by our ancestors, our people make maximum benefit from it. Earlier on when you spoke about how Galamsey has polluted our water. Before the white people came with sophisticated machines and all the things that now we've taken advantage of and doing Galamsey to pollute it, our people were doing small-scale mining in their own small way, and the communities directly benefited. Yes, it's good. We need to look at the bigger benefit. But in doing that, have we put in place measures and structures that it doesn't also destroy other sectors of our economy, or it doesn't also destroy other our farming areas? You see, so these are the kind of things that if we're going to fight Galamsey, we need to put in place laws not only to fight Galamsey, to make sure that the Ghanaians or the indigenes of a mining community maximizes the benefit that they are getting from the richness that their soil gives to them.
Yeah. Why do you think people like you are in the minority or are lone voices? Yes, I've heard Professor Jampo, former Chief Justice Sophia Akufo speak about these things. And these are, of course, voice of conscience. And like I mentioned, you have people who are supposed to make these laws. Are they removed from the reality? Because it's obvious that Ghana should be benefiting more from its resources. We have gold, we have oil, and we're still struggling, going to IMF and other Bretton Woods institutions to ask for aid when we have so much money buried in our land. Why is it not? Look at the aggressiveness we are fighting LGBT. If we use the same aggressiveness to say let's change our laws, that can be done.
Well, I will say that I am happy that at least you are hearing voices, and these are not just ordinary Ghanaian. I mean, I heard the former Attorney General Sophia Akufo speak about it. I've also heard lawyer Sambo Kujato speak about it. Professor Jampo, Professor Lord Mensah,
Right, Simmons.
I have seen a lot of write-ups. So it's good. As a nation, people are now beginning to prick our minds, say, look, We've been sleeping all this while. There's something we're not doing. So it's good. It's a good beginning. The change will not happen today, tomorrow. But once prominent people and knowledgeable people and people who have the country at heart are speaking about these things, I'm sure it would come home to, it will get into our policymakers. Fortunately for us, most of these things has to go to Parliament for approval. It also has to go to Parliament for ratification. So I'm sure our parliamentarians, they are hearing these people. Yeah. They are hearing me speak.
Yeah. The Domahene has been very vocal about it as well. He says that I will only allow you to come mine on my land if it's 50-50.
Exactly. If I could sit back and say, oh yeah, I'm benefiting, I'm okay, my family is okay. But am I treating my country right? Yeah. Am I being fair to my country? When coming into the industry, I'm beginning to see that Ghana as a whole, my people as a whole, can benefit more than they are benefiting. Right. You want me to keep quiet? I won't keep quiet. This is about Ghana, this is about our country, and this is about people. It's the duty of every Ghanaian who has the might or who has the power to fight for those that don't have the power. Okay.
I have two final questions. What do you say to those who say these foreign companies, whether it is oil mining or it's gold mining, they do a lot of prospecting and it's a lot of risk because there are no guarantees that they will find these mineral deposits. So because they are taking a huge risk, that is why they get a chunk of the benefit when the discovery turns out to be positive.
I do not agree with them.
You don't agree with them?
Daniel.
Are we willing to take that risk, to pump money to explore, knowing that it could be positive or negative?
Daniel, you see, like any other business venture, you draw up a business plan and you're able to convince your financiers how viable the project is. The Woya is a very viable project. It would pay for itself within a matter of 18 months or thereabout. With such a good business plan, sending it to financial institutions, capital market, you should be able to raise money, just like any other business project. I don't want us to look at oil. Yes, of course, the volumes of money involved are huge. Yeah. Oil industry, the mining sector. It is up to us to be able to put together very viable business projects and convince the investor to come. Especially when the investor knows that in Ghana, Ghanaians, no matter what, would have 50% or more shareholding in that venture. At least that gives them a kind of comfort that, yes, I'm giving to a majority shareholder. Yes, like businesses, you can invest in projects and it doesn't work out well. Yeah. But that is business. But with a good study, for instance, in the mining sector, you should be able to know the quantity and the volume of resources in the ground before you even start mining. These can be done scientifically, and like we did for the Woya project. So it shouldn't be difficult for our people to raise capital. Okay. It's just that we haven't come to that realization that we can do it. Okay, we only think that in the oil sector and the mining sector, then I have to go outside and get a foreigner. Yeah. We have not come to that realization. But the moment every Ghanaian realizes that we can do it, or the moment we start building wealth for our own people, who then have enough wealth to go into this venture, we'd always run to foreigners. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't believe that they invest so much. We can also invest that amount of money. Okay. We need to start building wealth within our country. We need to start retaining most of the wealth that this country has within the country. That is the only way we can build upon that wealth and create more jobs and create more employment for our people. Okay. But if all our wealth is taken out, then we have a serious problem.
That's how our city is depreciating, because at the end of every business here, they lift the money, change it into foreign currency.
Exactly, and it goes out.
Capital flight.
We are not building wealth within our people. And that is something that we need to look at.
Okay. But in the midst of all the chaos and all your wranglings with your partners. Is this lithium going to be mined? How soon? And how soon would Ghanaians begin to realize the benefit? Already the lease has been signed anyway.
Yes, I think where we are now is to get parliamentary ratification, you know, and at that level that, you know, people will start scrutinizing and making sure that whatever we're going out there or giving out there, it's going to benefit Ghana as a whole. I'm not too sure where we are now with the public opinions and then the EPA studies about these things, but I'm hoping that whatever our policymakers or whatever our license grantors will do, the ultimate aim is to make sure that it would benefit Ghana more than it's going to benefit any other people. Okay. And I believe that maybe before the parliamentary ratification is granted, these are some of the things that, some of the people that will be spoken to, especially our chiefs and the people within the community, and to make sure that, yes, the ultimate benefits goes to the people. You see, gold is not a curse. Lithium, such a strategic mineral, is also not a curse. It is how we have approached it and the things that we have done that has not made our people benefited from it. That is why we think it's a curse. But it's a blessing. Ghana has been blessed with so much wealth, so much. Talk about all the strategic minerals in the world, and you find them in Ghana. Yeah. That is a blessing. That is not a curse. God has a reason why he put you and I on this very rich land. But if we don't wake up to that realization that this belongs to us and we must do whatever we can to make sure that we benefit from what God has blessed us with, we'll keep losing it. It will be going away, and you and I will not make the maximum benefit from it.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your latest advocacy, and I hope that the good people of this country will listen. Those who are mandated to take decisions on our behalf would also listen and make the right changes to help the future of this country, because posterity will judge all of us for what we do and for what we do not do. So thank you very much for your time.
Yeah.
This has been another edition of the Lowdown here on GhanaWeb TV. My name is Daniel Odro. I've been here with Ben Nunoo Mensah, a businessman, and for most of you, you know him as the president of the Ghana Olympic Committee. Very, very big sports administrator in this country. But he's a man who wears many hats, so sometimes we talk to him outside of the sports fraternity. Thank you for watching. We're back another time with another edition of the Lowdown. Bye for now.